Hello everyone, Lord of the Bricks here, and welcome to my channel. So, this model that you see right here is something that I made in school, for school. This is a project that me and my classmates made for a plan that we put together. And so we made a map with an area that we wanted to develop, and this Lego model is something that I spent a few days to just put together to sort of visualize our plans. So while this actual model is made with my Lego and it's all made by me, the whole plan that goes behind it is something that's a collaboration between me and my classmates. So this is actually a real place that exists today. It's in the outskirts of the city of Trollhättan in Sweden, and what we have today is mostly, well, there's forest where there's forest here, and then there's just farmland over where you see all this infrastructure over here. So our plan was to sort of expand the city and make some more houses and some more living places for people in this section of the city. And we wanted to preserve the forest, since that's something that, as we visited this place, we thought that it's really pretty nice there, and it's got some nice value as it is, and we figured it would be a nice little park area for people to explore as they live in this part of the town. So that was our idea. Now, what you can also see here is over here there's a big wall that's like a wall meant to separate the area of the people living here from the railroad that actually runs right here. So there's a double wall here on both sides of the railroad, and I didn't make the railroad in Lego. I just made this whole section of the wall and then a tiny bit of it over here, which is part of the whole area that we planned for. We can also see different types of houses here. So we have a few apartment buildings. We have a few buildings that are like built in a chain or in a row with just individual houses that are just connected together. And then we have a whole bunch of just normal houses on separate properties. And there's also a space for a school and some other park areas. And this area right here, this is actually, we have 2 trees here that were actually some trees that we wanted to preserve. There's just a bit of land next to the, or actually in the farmland that just has some trees growing on it. So we thought that we want to preserve that. So that's what that is. Most of these other trees that you see here are just randomly put out. Well, these are also pretty randomly put out, but it's just a representation of the fact that we have a whole bunch of trees in this whole area. So yeah, if you take a look overhead, you can see that the whole angles of the streets and everything, it's kind of complicated, and I think this is probably the most complicated thing that I've ever made in Lego, simply because of all the weird angles that you needed to make this plan work. And it's all because we had a specific plan that, well, I wanted to follow that closely. And this isn't an exact copy of what it actually is like, but it's pretty close, especially if you look at the streets, how they go. So I think I'll just, for this video, I'll separate a few things to show you how this whole thing fits together. So over here, we have this section that just goes out, and you can see that there's a hinge over there. And so you have this part here, and then this is like on a hinge, which you can move like this. And here we have some snot techniques. So we have bricks on the side, and that's something that I used also over here that you can see. And I had to use some very interesting techniques to make these slope pieces fit snugly together. And yeah, then we have a whole bunch of pieces with like with studs on the sides. So let's see here. If I just break this off, you can see that that's just a jumper plate on top of one of those bricks with a stud on the side, except that that stud is, well, on the top, since the brick is on the side. So here we have another part of the whole thing where it just hinges, and this plate just sits on top. The same goes for this, or well, this just sits on the top, and that's what that looks like underneath. So yeah, this whole thing is actually pretty fragile. If you like, I can't lift this thing up, since, well, you can probably tell just from how, as I'm breaking this apart, you can see that it sticks together, but you wouldn't be able to lift it all up in one piece. Partly because it's very heavy, but also partly because it's just the structural integrity is not really enough to make it work. So this whole forest section is made up of both trees that are stuck to the ground and trees that are just sort of loosely placed on top of this. And you can also tell that I have a whole bunch of different angles here. And I'll give you a look at what that looks like if I just take this and I lift it up. I have a whole bunch of these randomly made hills that sort of just sit on top of this structure. That isn't completely flat, but it's sort of mostly flat, with a few uneven surfaces, like here, for example. But yeah, this one actually sticks out a little bit, but it's just the same technique that I used for all of these. Also, this whole thing is split into 2 parts. So yeah, it's all very loose. But anyway, basically, something like this is the way it's supposed to look like. So for the closing shot, I just want to put it together a bit. So yeah, this is my model, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, leave a comment. If this gave you some ideas for how you want to build a model of your own, then go ahead and copy me. If you have some questions about whatever techniques techniques I used, you can just tell me about it and I'll just answer you. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.